Okay, so thank you for joining today's session. And today's session is basically divided into four different parts. And that will be the structure of my training, which I have created for entire 1 year. And the objective of this training is to basically prepare you for leading industry tool for business intelligence, that is Tableau and Power BI. And if you go onto any job portal, and you will see hundreds of jobs, thousands of jobs even across India or different part of the world. And by getting an expertise into, you can basically land in the job. And to land in a job, what you need is the technical skills, good technical skills, and project experience, and good interviewing skills. I think once you acquire your technical skills by practicing the technical topics, by practicing the projects, what you finally also need, which is, I would say, 70%, that is where you are getting evaluated, is the communication skills. Because without proper communication skills, even if you have very strong technical skills, you won't be able to make other person understand about what you're talking about, right? So that is why I'm focusing on that also a lot, where in each session I will be covering one important topic that is related to the interview skills. And during the week, I will give the assignment so that you can practice it, that particular skill, so that by the time you are midway or by the time you are end of this course, you have a good understanding of how to answer a particular question, and you will not hesitate. So that's the most important thing, and make other person understand, or your interviewer understand about what you're talking about. Okay, so that is something related to the session. So that is the second part of the session. Third part is where we will discuss one data analytics topic, which is related to particularly the analytics thing, which is the statistics, with a flavor of statistics, and how you can implement it in tools like Tableau and Power BI. Again, this is to give two different perspectives, not just about the how you can create or how you can implement that particular topic into the tool, but also why you are doing that. And that's one of the key thing which I focus in my training, is to why you are doing something. So you are creating any chart, you are creating any analysis, but what is the objective behind it? If you are clear about that, you will be able to explain it whenever any chance is coming in your interview. And finally, the open question. So that is the fourth part. So during the training, I will keep it a bit interactive by asking you question, and allowing you to answer it. And at the end, we will have more open-ended session, which is either specific to this training you want to ask, or anything from a guided guidance perspective. If you need, I can basically try and help with the help of my experience. Okay, so with that, the first topic that I have for you is, first topic I have for you is the related to import data. So importing data is one of the critical, or one of the first thing that one should do. And when you import the data, it can be a scenario that you have one single file, or you have multiple files that you need to basically import in a tool. Now, when you are importing, there are various different kind of joins that you can make. There are, and not just the join, but sometimes you need to union the data. If you are not sure union, that's like appending the data one below the another. So that is something which both of these tools provide as a functionality, where you can go in and work with these files that is coming to you either through the join or through the union. And that is something I will going to explain, so that this topic is clear. And especially for beginners, this is something which is usually asked. If you have 15 different files in a folder, how you will import all the files at once, right? Or what kind of join that you will going to make. So very quickly, we will go through that. And I will show you by sharing my screen. And before that, I will just try to open once more. I'm facing some license issue with the Tableau. So let me just try one more time. Okay. Connect. In just 1 minute, I will first start with Power BI. And if Tableau will allow me, I will show you with Tableau as well. Okay. Okay. Just okay. Right. Okay, I'll start with Power BI because it is continuously giving me some error. So with that, share the screen. And what do I have is the screen number 1. Okay. So here I am. You can see my screen, right? Just put it on the comments if you are able to.
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so what do I need? What I was about to start is the topic around uh, joining and unioning, and the situation that I have in front of us is basically two different situations. The first situation is about the join and union. So there are two different types of conditions which happens. That first scenario is that you have multiple tables that you want to join, and then you have a scenario that you have multiple tables, but you want to append those tables one below the another, right? Let's say, for example, if you are having the presence in 15 different countries, and each country you are getting a file. Let's say if your operations are not fully automated with IT systems, or even in the IT systems, if you are getting files, you need to basically combine them. So what you do is basically you union it while going into one below, or appending the file one below the another. And each of this topic is something we can do it very easily within the Power BI or Tableau. Okay, so I'm showing you the Power BI, and over here, what I'm doing is I'm creating a new report. And the first thing I will going to explain is related to a join, and then I will show you a bit of a twist with the join and a best practice in terms of when you should really go about making a join. Okay. So over here, we are starting with the scratch, and what we need is basically a data. So my data is very simple and straightforward Excel workbook. And what do I have is basically three different files that is related to joins. And let me just see all my files. Okay, this is not present here, not an issue. I think I have it over here, which I was making it. Okay, perfect. So in this file, I will have three tables. And these three tables are related to one of the very familiar data set. If you are already into this domain, or if you have seen my videos, This is related to the sample superstore data. This is the sample data set which comes with Tableau as part of the practice. And it provides a lot of good information and a lot of practical scenario and easy to understand for anyone, even if you are a beginner or you are an experienced professional. So what does it have? It has the orders data. So orders data is about the orders that customers are making either by going into the superstore or via online. So you have a very simple information about order ID, where what is the order ID that was placed, order date, ship date, what was the ship mode, customer ID, and so on and so forth, like segment, the geographical information, the postal codes, and then the product information over here, and finally the measures, right? So what you have is what I will do is I will just select what are the tables I need to import. So I need to import orders. I don't need to import this one, which Power BI is automatically creating. I want to import this one, and I want to import the third one, which is related to returns. But in this case, returns two, because these are the two columns which I need. So you need to basically see each table and only import the relevant one, because sometimes what Power BI does is it creates this two sort of alias also, where it produces the output. It may or may not happen in the file that you are having, but if it is, then just make sure you are importing the right one. So what do I do is, if you observe over here, the columns are not having names in case of return and in case of people, right? But in case of orders, we have the names. So we need to do a little bit of cleaning, very straightforward steps by going into transform data. Loading will directly load the data, but it will not produce any join. So we need to make sure we transform this data. Click on this transform, which will open up the Power Query. And that will basically allow us uh, to put the headers at the right place using the inbuilt function. So over here, we have got the returns. We have the headers in the first row, and then using the first row as a header. So now we have the first row as a header. Same is with the people over here, column 1 and column 2, using the first row as a header. So now I have the columns over here proper, and finally for the orders also I have the columns properly, right? So this is very important. And if the columns names are not given, then also you need to make sure that you are giving a proper column names to your table, right? And if you see, we have whatever we have done is present over here, promoting the headers or changing the type. So after you are done, you basically click on close and apply. And once you click on close and apply, it will run the operation over here. And then we can evaluate the joining. By default, Power BI or Tableau, basically both these tools do the automatic join. But if not, then we just need to make sure we apply the joining so that this is working as expected. Once this is done, I will show you how you can come out of the joins as well. So what do you have over here? Very straightforward. Within the window, you have the returns table that we have. You have the orders table, right? And now this one is properly connected based on the region. So you have the region and regional manager name, but in the orders table, it is not properly connected. So very straightforward. What I'll do is I will just put order ID over order ID, and that will going to produce the join. Now the important part is what type of join that is being produced, right? So if you see, you have the return and you have the order, and multiple orders are present over here. Same way in order ID over here, once you observe the data, multiple orders like this one, 163405, 163405, it is present 2 times. This one is present 3 times. That means it is a many to many relationship, right? And what we want is we basically want filtering direction. That means I should be able to use this and filter this data, or I should be able to use this table and filter this data, right? So that basically depends on how we want. It allows single also from order filters return to, that means we will going to use the fields only from the orders table to filter the returns table, or opposite, right? For now, I will just choose both, or I can choose this one as well, up to us, because orders is our main table. So for now, I'll just click on both and click OK. Both basically allows me to have a flexibility that if I am creating a report, anything which is specific to return, I can simply select the filters over here and filter the orders data as I need. All right. So anytime you need to evaluate the relationship, just click on that. Over here in properties, you will see how this table is basically connected, what is the cardinality, what is the cross filter direction, so on and so forth, right? Over here also simply click on this and you will be able to see its properties. So once it is present, you can go into your table view, or you can go into your visualization, and all the three tables are present with which you can do the work. So here comes the best practice. Most of you will be aware if you have already seen the Power BI. Probably this topic may not be new, and I think that is what I heard from one of the participants. But if you see over here, this is a very simple and straightforward data set, right? To start with. Now, whenever you have any such situation, because in companies or in real life, you will have 15 different tables, you can have 25 different tables, and sometimes you have to work with just 2 or 3 different tables. So what do? Generally, whenever you have such situation where the data set is very less, when I say data set is very less, that means anytime data is around anywhere between the row count of 10 lakhs or 1 million, whenever the row count is less than that, or you have, let's say, many columns. For example, you have 20 columns and the row count is 1 lakh, considered as a small data set, right? So whenever you have situations like that, always my recommendation is that produce one single table. Why? Because that gives the much better experience as compared to the multiple tables, and you have more control over it. You will not face issues when you are creating the DAX calculation. So in this scenario, if I have to create one single table from both of these tables, how do I do that? Well, for that, you have the Power Query. So over here, if you see the transform data, so in the transform data, if we have to create one table out of these 3 tables, the functionality what we have is about the merge queries. What it does is it basically you have these tables as queries, as you see, queries, which is orders, people, and return, right? So you want to merge people and return in the orders. If that is a scenario, because your data set is small, then how would you do that? Is very straightforward, again, because of the inbuilt functionality that Power BI produce. It's just that we need to be aware of how to use it. So you have people. I will first select the people and I will then select orders. Why I am doing that is because I have played around this a lot. So whenever you select the second table, it becomes the current one. So you have the merge queries. When you click on the merge queries, it basically opens up a dialog box, which allows us to produce this. So if you see, orders becomes my current table or the first table. That is why I was selecting the order as a second table. So that comes with after doing this process couple of times. And then what I want to combine with is the people table, right? And over here, it will ask me on which column you want to merge. So I will select this region column over here. And over here also, I will find the region column. Left outer join. Why? Because I want all the records from orders and matching record from regional management, right? That is the basics of your SQL. Over here, you have multiple options. For us, in our case, left outer join is all makes sense. So I'll click OK. So now what it does is it basically creates this new column called table, right? In this, if you see this arrow, it is going in 2 different directions. It is basically saying that expand your table. So when you click on that, you will see you have 2 columns which were present in the people table. So over here, region is already present in my orders table in the first table. So I don't need that. I just need the regional manager column. So I'll uncheck that and I'll click OK. So now within the orders table, I have the regional manager. Once I have this, the best practice is you should not load the people's table because now it is not relevant. So what I'll do is I will right click and uncheck the enable load. When I'm unchecking this enable load, what Power BI will do is it will going to keep the table, but it will not going to load it in the front end for the relationship. So I'll uncheck that, right? Same way, I will do it with the returns table. So continue. Same way, I will do it with the returns table. I will select this. I will select orders to bring those orders which are related to return. So my second table is my return based on the order ID over here. And if you see, left outer join is all we want because we want to bring return column in the main table. Similar process, I will do it again. And now same table, I will click on expand icon. I don't need order ID because order ID is already present in my orders data set. I'll click OK. And my information about what orders were returned is also in the orders table. So I have the regional manager information over here. I have the information of the orders that got returned. And then I don't need this returns table. So I'll come over here, right click on over here, right click, uncheck the enable load. And now you know why we need to uncheck this enable load. Okay. So all my information. So this is part of the data modeling that if you need to produce one table out of multiple tables, how would you do that? Then this will be your answer in the interview, or this will be your answer when you are, facing the real life situation, and you will click on close and apply. And now it will be only one table, not three tables. Okay. So now your table will not have, you have the return column and you will have the people manager column. And with that, you can work with one single table. Why? Because your data is very small, only in those scenarios. But whenever your data is huge, like for example, you will have millions of rows and many, many columns, then the recommendation is that you always have star schema. So if you are not sure about star schema and all, maybe in a different class, I will cover it. But that's about how you can do this piece over here. Now that is the situation number one, where we are merging the queries or where we are joining the queries. What about if we have a situation where we have multiple files, like these are the four regions that we have: central, east, south, and west. Multiple files are present. Here it is region, it can be by date, it can be by country, right? Situation is that we have multiple files in a folder and we want to combine it. So within Power BI or Tableau, it gives us the option. So over here, what I'll do is I will going to click on transform data again. And within the transform data, what I'll do is first I will just remove these three tables because now I need to work right from scratch. So I'm selecting these, deleting it. And what I'll do is I will again go to over here. I have new source. Now in the new source, I will click on more. This will give me that dialog box where many folders are present. So I have this one, all. Within all, the folder is present. So what it does is it basically selects the folder in which all your files are present and produce the output. The same thing is present in the front end as well. So if I click on cancel and remove the Power Query, let's say you are in the front end and you want to do it directly from there. So in the front end also that operation is present. And over here in the get data, you have more, and in the more, the same folder option is present. So at both the places, this option is present so that you can take an advantage of that. Okay, so you have folder, similar option, and you can click on connect. Process is same at both the places. So that is why I just wanted to show you that you have this option. Now, where is the folder path? That means where are my files present in that folder? So I'll click on browse and I'll come here. I'll come here and this is my folder. Click OK and click OK. So this is a process when somebody is asking you a question in an interview, let's say that I have 50 files in the folder and I want to join those files and create one single data set. How will I do that? Okay. So you have this option. You have combine and load. Straightforward. The only caveat behind this is that your data should be of same structure. That means the number of columns and everything should be same. If they are not, a lot of nulls will be produced when the columns will not be matched. So it will take some time and produce this. So here is the sheet and here is the data set and you click. So this is the first file, what it is giving you as a sample, and I'll click OK. And it will produce the union, or it will basically combine all the files that are present in the folder. Okay, so it is doing all of these processing automatically, and I will show you in the backend the kind of, so this is the union that it has produced. Okay, and all the 4 files are present, which we can check by looking at the region column as a part of the testing, that our region should have all the 4 regions. So we have central, east, southwest, all the 4 regions combined. So very simple and straightforward operation. And you can go into transform data if you want to inquire a bit more. What it does, it in the backend, it creates this entire script and give you this final output, which is over there. Now, this is the first way of doing it, where you are pretty sure about all your files are present in one single folder, right? But sometimes maybe the scenario, you have 5 different files present at 5 different locations. Well, in that case, the option for you is append queries. Same way like merge queries, append the data one below the another. That means you first bring the files or tables one by one, and then you will choose this append queries option that will going to append the data one below the another. Okay, so that is something, a second option for the scenarios when you don't have the file in one folder. And that can be a question that if my files are not in one folder, how will I do that? In that case, you know the option. Okay, so that is the first topic which I have in mind. I wanted to show you in Tableau as well, but unfortunately my Tableau right from this morning is giving me some sort of an error. It is not opening. So that is why I am not showing it over here. But what I can do, I can find out some links. I have covered those topics probably on my channel, but I will find those links and give it to you so that you can see how you can get it. Yes, I will give you the data set, which I am having it, or I can attach it on this session. All right. So now we have covered these 2 topics. We will now shift the gears and move on to something called as technical topic. So our technical topic for today is the histogram. So if anybody wants to take a shot about what histogram is, you can unmute yourself and tell me what is your understanding about histogram and why we use it. Anyone can unmute and tell me. That's the way I'm having interactive classes.
Oh, hello. Hi.
Yeah,
Is I'm
bro, go.
audible?
Yes.
Yeah. The usage of histogram in Power BI as well as in the Tableau has some important reasons. The first is that allows us data distribution visualization, like it helps us visualize and represent a kind of a numerical data set, and also it helps us, displaying the kind of KPIs like key performing indicators that are really required for any organization to perform the operations. And then also it helps us decide the different outliers. Like it makes us easy to spot outliers or unusual data points that falls for far outside the normal range of data. So I believe that these are the pretty much stuff that we find out using with histogram. Not only that, simplifying the complex data set for the people who are not technically strong, but they want to uh, read the data, and that's how histogram help there. That's
Okay.
I guess that's pretty much based on the statistical analysis as well.
Mm-hmm. So what is the difference? You know that you have bar chart and you have histogram. How would you differentiate between these two?
Yeah. So what happens is in a bar chart, like bar chart usually used for categorical values, as far as I remember, and then we go for the histogram. Then it's for the continuous numerical data, and then in the bar chart we have usually x axis which represent the bar chart, and also there's a x axis for the histogram. Then there's a gap between like bars. Like bar chart are separated by spaces to indicate different categories if they are distinct or related or unrelated. And then histogram bars are adjacent to each other, and there's no gap. That's what I have seen while doing in Python. There's no gap in between histogram. So
Mm-hmm.
the purpose for creating bar chart is used to compare different categories or groups. That helps us understand differences among the similarities among different categories, or in between the categories. On the other hand, histogram used to show, distribution of different data sets or a data set. It helps us in understanding the spread, central tendency, and shape of the data distribution. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes, pretty much there. Long answer, but yes, I think you are in the right direction. So, in a concise way, if I need to tell what is the difference between a bar chart and histogram, in just one line, I will tell is when I need to do the category comparison, I will going to use the bar chart. And when I need to show the distribution of the data, that means spikes or how normally the data is distributed or how the data is skewed, I will going to use the histogram. So assumption over here is the person who is asking me this question is basically someone who is already having an understanding about what the skewness is, what the distribution is, and that is why he or she wants to understand the difference. So that is a way we can basically limit ourselves in terms of explaining the difference. That one is used for category comparison, another is used to show the distribution and skewness or kurtosis in the data that basically helps us analyze the data in two different directions. So now this particular histogram is something which is very commonly used as part of the multiple iterations that based on which you are developing the dashboard. So whenever we are having the project in the hand, it all starts with very simple and straightforward analysis like how do we want to show the KPI, the different parts of category comparison or relation that we need to show, and finally, as we move on, the new basically requirements keeps coming. They want to now understand, okay, how these different how these the different data points are impacting our overall business, and that's when we started thinking about histogram Because histogram tells us that if you don't know the normal distribution, well, the one-liner explanation is that whenever the situation is as per the expectations of the business, it or as per the expectation in even in the natural environment, it follows a normal distribution. For example, if you follow the weather, right, in a weather condition, when you are in summer, you will observe the temperature and you will observe something called as normal distribution. If you are not aware about it structure, then I will just show it very quickly. Where is that? Right over here. Okay, so what it does is very simple. Normal distribution, and that is something one should know, right? So what it does is, when the summers are coming or you want to measure the summer temperature, slowly, if you will see, the temperature increases, and at the peak, when the summers are at peak, and it goes down, right? And you will see similar pattern pretty much everywhere. And businesses also expect most of the time to have the similar pattern. And I will give you one use case. One of the important use case which happens is around the performance measurement. So what usually company wants is that 85% of their population should follow the normal distribution. That means their good performers and best performers should always be in very less categories, which is somewhere here or here. Here you have the bad performers. Here you will have the very good performers, but most of your performers will follow the distribution or the path which is called in statistical language the normal distribution. And normal distribution is something we created with the help of the histograms that shows whether our data is normally distributed or it is skewed. For example, if you see histogram over here, I'll just click on that. If you see an image like this, that shows that it follows the normal distribution, but then you have images like this where it does not follow very quite straightforward the normal distribution, and it is skewed at one single place like this one. This is left skew. Okay, so coming back to our scenario, the histogram from the topic to implementation, let's just see within the Power BI how we can do that. Okay, where are you, Power BI? Here you are. Okay. So you have union. So what we have over here is the data set, which is about the sales of different products or the orders that customers have placed. And what do we have is the four different measures like sales, quantity, discount, and profit. And we were going to produce two different histograms. One is on the sales and another is on the profit, and try to interpret that, because creation is one part of it and interpretation is another part of it. Okay, so we will go into the report view. In the report view, if you will see, if I need to create an histogram, I will going to choose this clustered column chart. That is number one, right? But then I need the ranges or bins over here that basically gives me the x-axis for the histogram. So going back to our scenario, if I show you again over here, if you will see, this is like a range 0, right, 1, 2, or over here, let's say 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. That type of a range is usually created, and I'll just try to identify any other scenario which it gives. But if not, basically your x-axis follow the range like 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. That is called bins. Based on those bins, you basically count the values. And I will show you how it is happening over here. So we have sales and we need to create the bins. So what do? Is we right click on the sales and the option is new group. Okay. So now the sales bins is basically coming, which is nothing but group. size of the beans, and the default option what it is giving us is the 500. So up to us whether we want the size of 514 or we just need the size of 500. What does this size of 500 means? It means 0 to 500, 500 to 1000, 1000 to 1500. That's how incrementally the bins will be created. So this will basically say that 0 to 500, that is a sales size, and then it will count all the transaction that has happened between the bin size or the sales of 0 to 500. So I'll click OK. So we have the sales bins and we have the sales, right? So over here, first thing first, before I go there, I will show you in a simple table. That way it will be easy. So I will create matrix, and over here, the first thing I will take is the sales bin on the rows. And from here, I will take the distinct count of order IDs onto the values, not the first order, but count distinct. So if you see, so that you have a clear understanding of what the chart will going to show, 0 is not 0, but it means 0 to 500. That's how we need to read it. So between 0 to 500, you have 4,725 orders. That means most of the orders have been placed between 0 to 500. Then from 500 to $1,000 range, you have 635 orders. Then from 1000 to 1500 range, you have 225 orders, and so on and so forth, right? So this is what it means. And this is something, this is what we were going to plot it over here as well to create a histogram. So over here, if you have, where are you, bins, and in the visualization, I have the bins on the x-axis, and order ID is on the y-axis, not the count, but distinct. Always make sure you know your data very well, because orders are getting repeated. We want to make sure that we are only taking the distinct count. Okay. So anybody can tell me what type of histogram it is producing? I mean, the skewness perspective. And how would you interpret this? Somehow I have told the interpretation over here only, but still you can take it, stab at it. So first of all, what type of histogram it is? Right skewed, left skewed?
It's a left skewed.
Okay, why it is a left skewed?
Um, I just assume because it's my interpretation is like it's just going or it's just starting from the left side. So I assume it's a left skewed because most of the um, you know data has been noted on the on the left side instead of on the right side because there's nothing is pretty much on the right side. That's my assumption. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I'm
That's fine.
getting.
There is no problem over here if you are wrong. The important thing is we take our chance so that we understand it. Now, what I will do is, you know how to create it. I can answer this, but what I really want is you do a little bit of your 15-minute research and really find it out, right? That way, you will never forget what type of distribution it is. Now, what I'm doing is I am creating one more on the profit, and I'm going to click on new group just so that we are absolutely clear how to do this piece. So we have profit, we have size of bins, and over here, what I'll do is I will create a bin size of 100. This time I'm taking a different path, and I click OK, and my profit bin is over here, and I will create one more cluster chart. And in this, I will going to have profit bins over here, and the same order ID onto my y-axis, which will be distinct. Okay. So this is how your second distribution that is coming, right? And if I just expand this a little bit, will show you much more clearer. All right. So now what it shows is you have a lot of profit between $0 to $100. Maximum profit is present over here, but then you have the negative profit and you have the positive profit, which is on the right hand side. So again, take this and do a bit of a research. This is a special case where skewness is definitely there, but there is one more property called kurtosis of the statistics is part of this, which I think you should know, and do your little bit of research. And once you are sure, put your comment over here after this class. So how you create this is, now you will have an absolute clear idea why you are creating is should be now absolutely clear to understand that number one, the distribution, and the point, Varun, that you said is to understand the outlier. So clearly it is present over here, right? Okay, so that is my second topic. What I'm going to do is we are pretty much with 1 hour, so we'll just take quick 2 minutes break and come back. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, I am back. Let me know when you guys are.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll start in a minute. Just All right. So from here, we will going to move on to the third part. That is related to the interview question. The part of this training will be that each week we will going to take one interview question, get an expertise on, so that by the time you are into the 10th week or 15th week, you have absolute clear understanding about some of those tricky questions, and even straightforward, I would say, that interviewer ask. And because we don't do a lot of preparation on that, we fail to make an impression about ourselves or about our work. And that is something, as an interviewer, I have taken probably more than 1,000 interviews in last 15 years. And I have seen that in 15 minutes, if you are able to make an impression on your interviewer about your profile, about your work, there is at least 85% more chances that the person will going to select you. The only thing happens after that is they want to go in depth. If the interviewer is not even going in depth discussion with you about your technical skills, get a hint that they are not impressed by your profile or whatever you have explained in the first 15 minutes of interview. And what happens in the first 15 minutes of interview is that they ask you a couple of questions about that. It starts with, tell me something about yourself. Or once this question is over, the next question is, tell me something, the project, or explain a project that you have done. Those type of question is usually covered in the first 10 to 15 minutes. And what interviewer is trying to understand is how well you are able to articulate yourself. That is number one. And the your work. So what happens is that because we are not preparing for it, we just go in an interview and started doing the explanation, right? And because of that, there is a good number of chances that while you are speaking, you are thinking about it as well, and you have a lot of fillers like let me think about it. All of these types of fillers are basically present in your conversation, with because of which your conversation is not very impactful. Plus, if you are not prepared and you have not done a good well research on yourself based on the interview that you are going into, plus the project that you need to explain, if you have not done a very good research of the positive, negative, and how to explain it, then there is a good chance that you will not be selected. Another thing which I have observed about when I have lost basically the traction with the interviewer is that, or interviewee actually in this case, the some people takes really long time to explain themselves or explain about their project, or while giving the answers, they take a whole lot of good 5, 10, 15 minutes to just explain about themselves or about their project. Whereas if you see the standard practice, you should ideally not take more than 1 minute to explain about yourself. That means in 1 minute, you are providing a good, concise summary about your work, your education, and a one line for your family as well, right? Same way goes with the second question, which I will cover in the next class in more detail about project, about how do you really need to explain your project, is also having these certain similar type of guidelines. So what we will do is we will just do the quick round over here, and I will ask the same question, and let me see what answers you are giving. So Vaibhav, are you up for it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so why don't you start with tell me something about yourself?
Yes. Good morning, Abhishek. I'm faculty in engineering college. and I'm handling the subject basically in mechanical engineering, but interested in doing the data analytics project.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear.
Mm, yes. Right now, I'm not from the IT background. My native branch is mechanical.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
That's
That's about it, right?
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So you took somewhere around 38 seconds to explain about your work, right? All right. Thank you, Weber. Monica, you want to go next? Uh, Monica, you can hear me? Okay. No worries. Varun, you want to go?
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Varun Singh, and I've just recently graduated. I would rather put this way: I recently graduate from Masters in Analytics. My majors were in Business Analytics, and currently I'm just going through some phases to refurbish my skills in Power BI as well as in Tableau. And yeah, I live in United States, and yeah, that's pretty much about me.
Okay.
Thank you.
So 21 second. All right. 22, I guess. 22. Yeah. Perfect. All right. Monica, you want to take a stab at it or you want to listen me? Because next, then I will go. All right. I will go and I will just explain about myself. All right. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain about myself. I have 10 years of experience in the field of reporting and analytics, and during this tenure, I have got the opportunity to work with three different multinational corporations, which has given me the global exposure. I have got the opportunity to work with diverse team, which was spread across the globe. And my latest experience was with the Red Hat, where I was working from last 3 years and have taken my skills to next level by releasing 11 global dashboards serving 5,000 employees. About my education, I have MBA in IT and systems from ICFAI, and I have 2 year certification in programming as well. About my family, I have a family of three members, including me, and I have a 6 months daughter, and her smile make me forget all tiredness after a long day of work. So that's in summary about myself within a minute. So this is something which where I am taking good 54 seconds when I have my counter starts, and you can tell me or you can observe the difference between how you are explaining about yourself and how I am explaining about myself. And then, rate yourself where you are and what you are currently lacking. This, from my perspective, is the close to, if I have to give a numbering out of 10, this stands somewhere around number 9, if not the 10. But that gives the interviewer a summary about what my skills and my experiences about my education and about a little bit about my family, and I put a touch of emotions when I'm talking about my family as well. And finally, I'm thanking it and giving the interviewer an impact that I'm not just explaining about myself, I'm also making sure that I am giving them that I have completed my summary within a minute, right? So this happens when you practice a lot. There is a flow that happens, right? In terms of putting emphasis on some words. For example, if you have seen, I have given a lot of emphasis on that I have X number of experience, or I have released 11 dashboards. So when you put an emphasis on these words, that basically creates an impact on the receiver's mind. That means the person probably will not forget those, and they will see this as the as your specialty, that you are the one who is basically having this much level of skill set. If you are doing this, if you are practicing this and giving an impression like this, my experience says that you will be standing out from rest of your interviewers. So you have the recording available with you. This entire session is getting recorded. Make sure you listen to what you said about yourself and then listen to how I said it, and then tell me what difference you find and how you will make a practice. Now, as part of this, as part of the interview preparation, what you need to do is you should first of all not speak but write. Write a good script for your introduction that should finish within 1 minute. Each one of you is having a mobile. Write the script and write, and then practice it by following your timer that is there in your phone. And if you are not sure, I will show you. I have written a script for myself. I have practiced it hundreds of times so that when the interview is coming, I don't have to use fillers. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to basically think or search for the words. So if you see, you can see my screen, right? Where the Word document is present. So this Word document is my summary about myself. Okay. Same way, you need to write a quick 1 minute summary about yourself as to what are those points which you absolutely want your interviewer to take or receive about yourself, right? Okay, yeah, Varun, what's your question?
Thank you for allowing me. Actually, I was little bit confused because at first place, of course, your introduction was amazing. It was the one I seek myself to do and perform. Meanwhile, I'm giving the interviews. But what happens is I usually, I'm not really into myself when I'm sitting in front of the interview or I'm giving the interview. So multiple thoughts takes place in my head, and I'm not really sure if I'm saying the right sentences or if I'm putting words in the exact boxes. So, like for example, I'm not really sure if I should bring my education along with the introduction round, or I should bring any sort of internship experiences I had, and these type of structure. I'm not able to, formalize in order to speak about my experiences in the round of giving the introduction. So that's actually make me nervous. So I do not know if it's the right way or if there's any other way that I can follow.
Yeah, and that's very natural, right? I mean, if you will ask any beginner, including myself, when I go back in 2008, right, when I basically joined my first job, that was the hesitation. And the hesitation was, how would I present myself? And there was nobody was even talking about at this level as to how to introduce yourself. Fortunately, I don't know, but what I used to do, I used to basically, after attending close to 20 different interviews where I got rejected, I then started following a practice of taking the interview in my head every single day. For some reasons, I got this idea and I started doing the practice. For another couple of more interviews, I got rejected, but then finally I started cracking the interview, pretty much any interview that is coming related to my skill, right? So after getting a lot of rejection, I got this, but then practice is the key. We get nervous because we are not sure what do we need to talk about, right? And that is where your mind is capable of doing one thing best at one time. Either you can research about it or you can talk about it, right? You will never see a speaker when a speaker is giving the keynote, or whenever the speaker is giving, standing in the auditorium and giving their speech, they will never have to think about any new thing related to the topic they are having in hand. They will always have a very well defined research. They will always know on what topics or what keywords they need to give an emphasis on. And finally, oratory or giving the audience that wow experience, they put a lot of emphasis on their words so that the words are attached to their mind, and that does not come in one single day. You will have to make practice by following this one routine for just 5 minutes a day, not like taking hours and hours. Take one interview question at a time, practice it 5 minutes a day, and see the output after 1 week. If you don't believe me, just take this question, write the script, practice it for 5 minutes a day, and then ping me next week and tell me whether you improved or not. That is the biggest improvement that you can do for yourself, so that if any interviewer, you are going in any interview, you are able to crack it. So trust me with that. If you are, and if you want to put it in a practice, I will highly recommend, and then you will see the difference within 1 week. I have seen people having that level of impact within 1 week. That is why I'm telling it from experience. So no worries, your jitters are very normal. These are like this hesitation or jitters happens because we are just not so sure what do we need to talk about, and our mind is doing talking and researching at the same time, which will never produce in the right output or the impression that we want to make. Okay, any other question on this topic?
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask just related to this topic. I mean, I was discussing this thing, the similar thing. I was just on a discussion with a friend of mine, like a couple of months back, and he actually has an experience in data science before he came to the like master's graduate thing. So he was telling me that the similar what you just delivered to us like a couple of minutes ago, like it is
Mm-hmm.
really important for somebody if we are capable enough to justify our 15 minutes of interview, then we are clear champion, because if we know how to go through with our resume, then we are capable to deliver the best results meanwhile we speak during the interview. So and how impactful it is. My question related to this, what I wanted to ask is how impactful it is for somebody when they are, giving the good information about their resume. They are well prepared for with their resume, and they know their projects well, and they know how to define those projects. Is it really going to make a positive impact on the interviewer, or is it the other way around?
Right. So my uh, 2 cents on this will be: number one, you have limited time with the interviewer, so you don't want to bore them with your lengthy speeches. That is number one, because you have done multiple projects, you have a lot of experience. You just don't want to do that piece that you are explaining everything. So take a step back and decide what do you want to do. Generally, an interview is scheduled for an hour at the max. Usually don't people don't go beyond that. And if an interviewer is getting finished in 15-30 minutes, that means there is a very less chance that you are moving ahead. So yes, it is very, very important that you make an impression with your work, right? And not just that, not about each and every piece about your work, but about the most important work where you are most familiar with. Interviewer will never go in the direction where they will say, tell me the project or explain me the project which you have faced most difficulties with. They will always ask you, tell me the project which you have enjoyed the most, or where you have the maximum engagement, or which you really, which is really close to your heart. So generally this type of a question is usually interviewer is asking. So make sure you are always prepared for this type of a question. This require a bit of a research in terms of what do I need to explain, which project is close to my heart, what were some of the positives that this project created, and what were some of the learnings that this project was the what I had as part of this project. So yes, this creates a lot of impact, but it has to be concise. It should not be a 15-minute long speech. It should be a 5 minutes max, even if you are explaining that project on your screen. Will that help?
Yes, definitely.
All right. Any other question on this topic?
Yeah, it's like, do we have classes every weekend on Saturday?
No, not on Saturday. I'm only available on Sunday. So
Oh, okay.
I
I'm sorry. I just talked with because at my place at the moment
oh,
it's
it will be
like
Saturday. Okay.
midnight Sunday. Sorry, it's Saturday
Yeah.
night. So
Right.
I
Right.
was like, sorry about that. Okay.
Mhm. Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other question on this topic?
Yeah, there's one how to join the complete course because this is my first class today, and I was following your emails just to make
Mhm.
sure that I'm following the exact path to join this class. And fortunately, I was lucky enough to get that email today, and I hop on in with the Skype, and I'm joining this class. I'm right now here. So, how to join the next session? Like, where would be the pay link for paying the
Mhm.
fee structure and all those things that I should know beforehand?
Yes.
And that's what actually my concern at the moment because I would like to go further and want to learn more because what I have learned in my lectures we had in our university wasn't really sufficient because I know 80% in our class, most of the students are not really good with this knowledge. So we somehow trying to improvise this knowledge either by using YouTube, sometime maybe, Udemy and platforms like that. But I really want to join and move into this class and want to learn
Yep.
best as
And
possible.
sure. And I will share all of these details either today evening my time, which will be your morning, or maybe tomorrow.
Hmm.
I have almost drafted everything about the class. I just need to make sure I'm proofreading it and making sure everything is correct.
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
good. So,
Perfect.
sir, there's one thing I would like to know. I mean, it's off the beat.
Mhm.
Like I've done my analytics I've done my graduation in analytics, as I
Mhm.
explained. So some of my friends were telling to me that maybe business analyst or like data analyst may not be the best suited in the market right now. Although I can see there are a lot of openings going on, a lot of jobs in the market. But what would you recommend me, like to stay with this main field, or should I jump into something else like SAP, FICO, or what would you recommend me? I know it's
I'm
it's maybe a naive to ask this question, but I do not know.
right, and I will be biased honestly, right? Because I am into this field from last 15, almost like 15 years. So I will be definitely biased in this case. From my perspective, I think I see two important fields that are growing a lot. Actually, three important fields that are growing a lot. We are all hearing AI, right?
Yeah.
That means prompt engineering and all. Definitely, a lot of buzz around it. There are very few companies who basically understand and doing the work, but then there are a lot of different startups which in the name of automation is doing basically promoting AI. But all in all, from a job perspective, I think there is a lot of scope in coming years, like it was data science back in the day 2012 and 13. Started with the big data, moved into data science, and it created a lot of scope for someone to go into and get good job. Data analyst or business analyst. Business analyst is basically bit of a buzz, a bit of a word which sometimes tilted towards data analysis, sometimes towards more of a business domain expert, or a combination of both, right? So that is an interesting, because for this, what you need to have a domain expert. For example, I am working in the field of sales analytics from almost like 10 years. 2013 is when I started in the sales analytics. Now it is 2024. Now I have a domain expertise. So I can be considered more like a business analyst and not just data analyst, because I can provide my expert opinion or subject matter expertise on this topic. I see a value and I can recognize that whether this value is right or not. That is basically what a data analyst or a business analyst should do. Data analyst is someone to whom you will give any data, whether finance, whether sales, whether HR, or anything. They will just go based on the requirement, produce something. Business analyst is domain expert as well. That means they will look at the data, provide the guidance about what needs to be done with this data, and a data analyst would do, or the business analyst who is having the data analysis skills would basically go ahead and do that. Now coming to the job market or a growth, the all in all, what I see is every day companies are producing petabytes of data, if not petabytes, then gigabytes of data based on their operation. And I'm specifically talking about some Fortune 500 or Fortune 1000 companies, right? Who is having a presence at least in 10 or 15 different countries, and their operations are huge and having a revenue of around at least $2 billion. Their data size is very huge, their operations are huge, and most of them, based on my experience, even today, don't have a clue what to do with this data. And that is why they need data analysts in every single department to analyze this piece. And that is why, the way I see this, it will not going to stop. The only thing will happen in future is more better analyst. We will need to figure it out, or more better analyst. When I say more better analyst, that means person who is having not just a good understanding of a tool like Power BI or Tableau, but someone who is having a good understanding of analytical approaches, how to solve a particular type of a problem, and produce a good summaries and stories in the form of dashboard or stories, will be hired a lot. And AI will going to accelerate that. So AI will going to be your next best friend, because what it will do is it will fast track the development of your dashboard and analysis. So my view, it will going to increase a lot. Data analysis will increase a lot. It will have a bit of a flavor with these tools, little bit of AI as well, to clearly ask, or clearly give the requirement to the tool so that it can produce and generate summaries. But what happens in business, it goes through the constant transformation every 6 months, every 1 year, depends on how frequent the changes are happening in the organization or in the business. It keeps changing. Because of this change, you have to continuously produce the new reports, new analysis. And that is why this data analytics, data analyst or business analyst will not going to have at least any slowdown in another 5 to 10 years. That's what I can see right now. So that is my long answer for this short question.
Thank you so much for the insight. I was just wondering because, like, there's so many um, crunch going on in right now in the job market. So I was thinking about if it's the right thing, if it's the right path that I'm on right now, or I should switch on to something else. But thank you for your vision.
Perfect. Okay. So with that, we are moving on to the final phase. And this is where some of my existing trainees may join over here. So with that, but if you have any other question, go ahead and ask me related to the topics we have covered today or anything else, so that I can help you with that. All right. No worries. If you don't have, drop me a comment, even if you have any question later over here on the Skype, which I keep checking. And assignment for you is you have to write a script that is about the interview question. Tell me something about yourself. And I would appreciate if you can drop the script over here and show me um, what script or what are you really writing. It has to be at least 1 minute long, but not beyond 1 minute, and telling about your experience, your work, your education, and your family. Four important aspects. Okay, and I will see how you are putting or giving the emphasis on the words which you want to give on emphasis on, put it in bold, and try to bring bit of a emotions into it, right? For example, if you see that I try to bring the emotion by saying that I have a 6 months old daughter and her smile make me forget all my tiredness after a day long of work. That basically creates a connect with the interviewer. You never know, the person is also having the daughter or a son, and they will be able to connect emotionally with you. So what we are trying to do in an interview, not just giving the interview, we are connecting with an individual. So do not lose that, basically do not lose that connecting the connection with the interviewer, at least at a person, even if it is a personal level. Okay, anything else that you guys have? All right, so now you have your assignment. I will send details. You can confirm with me about your enrollment, and I will send you all the details. Varun, I will send you maybe today evening, my time, or tomorrow. And if you guys want to stay on, you can. I have Minakshi who has joined. So Minakshi, over to you. What are the questions you are having?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. All right, go ahead. Floor is all yours.